What's up, guys? Kenny Cannon here. Before we get started here, I just want to let you know I have nothing to sell you whatsoever. This is the best sales training available anywhere. You're going to get it completely for free. I've been doing this stuff for 25 years. I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. Super simple process. Grab a notebook and a pen. These slides are not really written out. I don't have to read them. I just kind of have one word on each slide and I just go with it. So make sure you take some notes here. And if you want more of this stuff, if you want to really learn how to sell, someone who's doing it his entire life, instead of someone who's 17 years old and has no clue what they're doing, they just read a book and they're reteaching what they read in the book. If you actually want to learn how to really do it, follow me on social media. All the links will be below in the description. Instagram, TikTok, wherever. It's all there, and I give little tips on those platforms all the time. All right, so this is the best sales training available anywhere. Free, paid, book, movie, video, whatever. And it's from someone who actually does it every single day. So that's me there on the left. I ran a Spartan race. I came in like a millionth place, but I finished it, so that was kind of cool. And you don't really care about that. So I want to run through this really quickly. I started selling when I was 15 years old. Saw an ad in the paper. Yes, I'm not old. There were still papers back then. I actually looked through the classified section, and I remember exactly what the ad said. It said, unlimited income potential, no experience wanted. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. So I walked in, and the person said to me, look, here are the leads. I didn't even know what that word meant. Here are the leads. Here is the script. You're going to read this piece of paper to these people. And every single time you get to the end and they say, yes, you get $25. I was giving away free cell phones from a company called Nextel Wireless. And basically what I said to the guy was, let me ask you a question before I say yes or no. And he's like, what do you want to ask me? And I said, is there a limit to the amount of times I can do this? And he was like, you're going to be perfect at this. You're going to be great at this. I still didn't even know what I was doing yet, right? But I thought, man, I could just talk to these people, read this thing to them. Every time I say yes, I get $20. It's amazing. So for the first little while, first 100, 200, 300 calls, I was terrible. And then all of a sudden, bang, it just hit. And before I knew it, I was making more money than anybody that worked there. And I was doing it after school. So I ended up dropping out of high school, working there pretty much full time. And then when I was 18 years old, I got my Series 7 and 63 license, which is a licensed representative. So I was a stockbroker when I was 18 years old. By the time I was 19, I had $15 million under management, closing deals left and right, new accounts every single day, second trading like a madman, had a cold calling team underneath me, doing really well. Left that business after about 6 years or so, firms getting shut down, all sorts of craziness here on Long Island, and started selling mortgages with a couple of friends of mine that I worked with in the stock business. Stayed there for about 2 years, and then I wanted to learn how to sell face-to-face. So I went to a local car dealership, one of the top Hyundai sales dealerships in the country, and I was a top salesperson there. I learned how to sell face-to-face. I was very, very good at it, and that right there was my favorite thing I've ever done. I love selling cars. It was freaking awesome, and I was really good at it. The problem is, though, you got to work weekends. You got to work till 9 o'clock at night a couple days a week. You have one day off. It's a long grind, and I wanted to be able to spend time with my family, do things that I love to do. So I started my business in 2007. We built the company up to a seven-figure valuation in 6 months, and I did it all through cold calling over the phone. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know ads. I didn't know marketing online. I didn't know any of that stuff. I knew how to call on the phone. That's what I did my whole entire life, and I started from there, built it up to a seven-figure valuation in 6 months. Since then, I've helped over 300,000 salespeople and entrepreneurs grow over the past 16 years. And I do the stuff that you are about to learn in this video every single day of my life. And I've been doing it since I was a damn teenager. It works. And it works really well. And it's not complicated at all. And you're getting it from somebody who, when you come to me and say, Kenny, how do I handle the money objection? I can tell you because I hear it every single day. Unlike most of the people online who've heard it on another video and they've never actually heard it on the phone. They read it somewhere or watched it somewhere, and they're just repeating what somebody else told. I hear it every day. Got to talk to my wife. Not the right time. Let's wait till the end of the year. Can I talk to my partner? Let's go over it with I hear it every single day of my life. That's why I can teach you how to get over it every time. Now, I'm not going to be covering objections in this video. If you want to learn more about objections, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and I'll do an objection video to show you all that. I do a lot of objection stuff on my social media platforms as well. Instagram, they're all linked below. So you can go there if you want to get just like quick objection stuff. And if you have any questions, you can leave them below in the comment section as well, and I'll answer them for you. That's not a problem. But I'm going to do a whole video on objections as well. This is just the sales process as a whole, okay? Everything that you need to know to sell anything that you've ever wanted to sell, all right? Before we get to that, though, I do want to cover a couple of things, all right? Number one, this is very, very simple, okay? Sales is not difficult. You have to get that out of your head. It's not all that hard. And this might be the first thing you want to write down, and every single human being on the face of the earth is a born salesperson. Everybody. Now, a lot of people say, you read it in the book, you read it on the internet or whatever. Well, no one's a born salesperson. They're taught, and it's some people may have no. Everyone is a born salesperson. And if you don't believe me, get around a 1-year-old kid anywhere. Get around a 2-year-old. Get around a 3. If they want the ice pop, mom says no. Well, why can't I have the ice pop? Can I have the ice pop now? Can I have it after dinner? Can I have this one? Can I have that one? Can I have this instead? They keep going until they get what they want. They're born closers. As human beings, we want to get what we want, period. And we're going to do what we have to do to get there, right? So the problem is that's trained out of us through the school system, our parents, our guidance counselors in school, society. Don't ask for that. Don't talk about money, politics, or religion. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't talk to strangers. They teach us that in society and culture, in school, our parents. And then when we get to be 20, 21, 22 years old, we're scared to death to say anything to anybody, right? So we're all born salespeople. Look, what I'm doing here is I'm going to remind you of things that you already inherently know. And I'm going to help you pull it out of yourself so you can use it in a professional environment. You know everything I'm going to talk about here. Everything. You know it all already. But you've forgotten it, or maybe you can't apply it in this instance. I'm going to teach you how to do that here, okay? That's number one. Number two, sales is not a numbers game. It's not a numbers game. If people tell you that, they don't know what they're talking about, or they don't have the skill. Sales is a skill game. Now, do numbers play a role? Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. For example, if I'm cold calling and you're cold calling and we're next to each other, and just by dumb luck, you're getting everyone on the phone and I'm getting no one to talk to, numbers are going to play a role there, right? But look, that's not how most things are done in the sales environment. They're just not. In the sales business. They're just not. It's not done that way anymore all that much. Okay, a lot of people still do it, but it's not. Most of it is like, we're going to give you live transfers. It's going to be a warm lead off the internet, right? We may have to cold call a little bit, but for the most part, we're here. We're getting people to talk to. Whatever environment we're in, we're getting people to talk to, right? So the point is, once you hear the word hello, it's 100% skill from that point forward, okay? That's why when I talk about people like Grant Cardone and all these other people, right? Grant Cardone is a great marketer, terrible salesperson from what I've heard. Great marketer, though. Probably the best marketer alive that I can think of, right? I always say, like, you give me 100 contacts, you give him 100 contacts, his brand is over. If that's publicized, no one will ever listen to him again. And that goes for anybody besides Jordan Belfort, who trained me originally when I was younger. That goes for anybody that I've ever heard on the internet. You give me 100 contacts, you give them 100 contacts, not dials, people to speak to, I'll destroy them, okay? Because it's not about the numbers. It's about the skill, okay? Now, there's a caveat to this, though, so we have to hang on here for a second, all right? Because this is true, but there's a big but here, and that is when you're first starting, you can make up your lack of skill in volume, meaning if you're just starting out and you don't know what you're doing, you don't know your script yet, you're brand new, you're a little shy, whatever it is, you could say, look, that guy's much better than me. So if he's making 20 calls, I'm going to make 200 calls to make up for my skill. You can play the numbers game, right? But eventually what you want to do is you want to say, okay, I'm going to be as good as that person and still make the 200 calls and just blow them out of the water, right? You don't want to rely on the volume forever. You don't want to rely on just dumb luck. Okay, we're not in the game of just fishing for laydowns. You can't build businesses that way. You can't build a sales career that way. You have to be able to take the people who are not no's and turn them into yes. That's another big misconception that I didn't put in the thing here. You don't want to turn no's into yeses. That's not our job. Our job is to turn maybes into yeses and not screw up the people that are already yeses. So we don't want to screw up laydowns, right? Laydowns are going to come. We're just going to take them in. We want to take the people that are on the fence and push them on our side of the fence. That's it. If they're a no, we let them go. If they're a maybe, we turn them into a yes. If they're a yes, we just don't screw it up. Okay? So sales is a skill game, not a numbers game. Numbers play a role if you're cold calling in certain situations. You can use the numbers to your advantage by doing reps, because that's the only way to get better, right? You can use that to your advantage when you're first starting out, because you're not going to be as good as other people in the room or in your business or whatever. You're not going to be as good as those people. So if you're not as good, you take more swings. Simple as that, right? To cover up the lack of skill. And you do that while you work on your skill. The only reason why people buy, there's two reasons: status and experience. That's it. There's nothing else. It's not about what they want or who they, none of that stuff matters, okay? It blows my mind how I could go into the ClickFunnels group. I can go into all these different groups online, sales groups and marketing groups, and people will say like 9 million, well, they buy because they're in pain, or they buy because, their wife told them that they need something. No, none of that is true. 0% of that is true. It doesn't matter what you're selling or what your product is or service is. It always comes down to this. Always, okay? So I can look around my desk right now, and I have a pair of sunglasses. Let's just go through this randomly, okay? And you can think of any random product you can think of, whether it's a pack of gum at a gas station, a house, a boat, a car, a soda, pack of cigarettes, whatever it is, drugs. It doesn't matter what it is. It all comes back to these two things. So I have these sunglasses in my hand, okay? What do these do? When I'm out in the outside, right? And it's sunny out, these go on my face and they make me more comfortable in the bright sun. What does that do? It increases my experience in that environment. So if I'm watching a softball game, a soccer game, whatever, I could put the sunglasses on so I'm more comfortable, better experience. Now, there's 40 million different sunglasses I could buy. I could buy a $5 pair of sunglasses at Walmart. I could buy a $300 pair of sunglasses at some other sunglass store or whatever, right? What makes me buy the $5 ones or the $500 ones? Status. Okay? So if I buy the $500 sunglasses, and I don't even know if there's such thing as $500 sunglasses. I'm making this up. But let's say I buy a pair of like fancy Ray-Bans or something for a few $100. If I do that, the only reason why I'm buying those over the knockoff ones that look exactly the same in Walmart for $5 is because the status of the logo, right? The experience of blocking the sun is the same, but I'm buying the status of the logo. Why do people buy Starbucks over gas station coffee? Some will say Starbucks is better. Some will say Starbucks is worse. That doesn't matter. The reason why they buy it is because of the logo on the cup. It's walking around with the Starbucks. If you're walking through the mall and you're walking with a Starbucks cup next to someone who's walking with a mobile gas cup or whatever full of coffee, the person with the Starbucks cup instantly has more status. Instantly, right? You walk in, someone sitting at a desk, right? And that person, there's two people at the desk. One person has a $200 computer from Best Buy that's like breaking down. The other person has a brand new MacBook Pro. Who has more status? You don't even know the people. Instantly, the MacBook Pro has more status, right? Now, those people, the MacBook Pro could have a better experience or a worse experience. I don't know, right? But the bottom line is status and experience, everything. People buy a drink at a gas station. Why? They're thirsty. Well, if they're thirsty, their experience is lower than if they're not thirsty. If they quench their thirst, their experience is better. Now, the difference is this. Listen, ready? Why would you buy the Sprite for $3 over the store brand for $1? Status. You don't want to be walking around with a store brand thing. Both of them will quench your thirst, but you don't want to walk around with the store brand thing, so you buy the brand name thing for status. Now, on the other side of it, you could say, look, I want to buy the store brand thing because I don't really care about that. It doesn't make a difference to me because I look at value. I care about my finances, right? If you're that type of person, you buy the store brand one, that's still boosting your status in a different way. Because now you're saying, yeah, I buy the store brand stuff because I'm smart. I buy the store brand stuff because I manage my money the right way. I buy the store brand stuff because I buy value, not off some stupid logo like all you idiots do. It's still raising the status level, okay? So we have to understand that no matter what you're selling, no matter what your product is, no matter what you do, it doesn't make a difference. It all comes down to these two things. If you simplify it to just this, you don't have to worry about anything else. All you have to do is think about, what can I do to increase the status and experience of the person that I'm dealing with? That's it, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that, obviously. This is not the end of the video. I'm going to show you how to do that in great depth throughout this whole thing. But the bottom line is, this is all that really matters, okay? If you say, this is like a scale, right? If you say something and it makes the status go down, you're less likely to close that person. If you say something else, makes the status go up, you're more likely to close that person. Now, there are other instances where we want status to go down, right? And we'll get into that in a second. But for the most part, we want to make sure that our status and experience is as high as we can get it throughout the entire process, okay? Next, we're not going to cover objections in this video, but I wanted to put this in here because it's important. People do this all the time, and it drives me freaking nuts, okay? We never directly answer objections, ever. Objections should be answered with rebuttals that are sequential in order. Okay, now let me explain that. What I mean by that is, if you go online, you go into the Facebook groups, you go into wherever, and you ask all these quote-unquote sales trainers that are 12 years old, if you ask them, how do I handle the money objection? What they will say to you is, what are you selling? What I say to you is, I don't give a crap what you're selling. Doesn't matter. Because the rebuttals are going to be the same to any objection that you handle, no matter what you're selling, because you're not even mentioning the product. Doesn't matter. Rebuttals should handle certainty. That's it. Certainty for you, certainty for your product, certainty for them. That's one everybody leaves out, right? Everybody talks about, yeah, we got to make them certain, people that are actually trained in this stuff. They'll talk about, yeah, we got to make them certain on the product. Product's got to work. They got to trust the product, right? Product or service. They got to trust the product owner, person who's behind it, right? They got to trust those things. If they don't trust those things, they're not going to buy from you. That's true. That's true. But what a lot of people leave out is they also have to be certain in themselves. Big one. Probably the biggest of all, believe it or not. The biggest of all, they have to be certain of themselves. So what I mean by that is, when you're answering objections, and I'm going to have a whole other video on answering objections, so if you want that, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you get notified of it. And I'll also have a lot of objection stuff on my social media platforms, which will link below. But if you want, I'm going to teach you a little bit about it here, okay? So we have to be certain that they're on for the product. So they're certain around that. They're certain on the product owner, so they trust the product owner or the company behind it. The one that everybody leaves out, though, is them. So here's the example. If I'm selling, let's see, a car, right? Oh, no, actually, let's use a camera. That's a good one. If I'm selling a camera to somebody, they have to be certain the camera's going to work. Fair enough, right? They have to be certain in the company that provided the camera, like Logitech is a good company that has good cameras, right? They have to be certain that, like, Best Buy will take the return if it breaks, or they'll, whatever, right? They have to be certain with the company that's behind the camera. They have to be certain that the camera is actually going to work for them, for whatever they have to use it for. But the last one, and the one that's most important, and the one that everyone leaves out, is they also have to be certain that they're going to use the camera. And no one talks about that. People talk about, well, I have this weight loss product, and I can't close deals on it. I don't know why. Everyone's telling me they don't have the money. No, what they're telling you is that they don't believe they're going to do anything with it. I can't sell my book. Why? Because no one's going to read it. You talk about, the book is great. The book is fantastic. This doesn't. But no one's going to pay attention. They know they're going to buy it and not read it. Okay? So people have to be certain in the company and the product, yes, 100%, but they have to be certain in their ability and like they're going to do it. They have to be certain that they're going to do it, right? If they're not certain they're going to do it or use it, then they're not going to buy it. So We're never going to answer objections directly. We're always going to answer objections through a sequence of rebuttals that hit on three main things: certainty of the product, certainty of the company, and certainty of themselves that they are going to actually use it as directed and get the result that they're trying to get. All right, next, and another thing too, real quick, we're not even into the sales process yet. We're just going over a little bit of things before we get there. All right, you got to understand this stuff before we get to the process itself. Qualified prospects. Qualified prospects are the only people you speak to. Do not waste your time talking to people that aren't qualified. What is a qualified prospect? It's three things. I'm going to go over them with you real quick here. When you ask people again, when you ask people online, when you ask people in Facebook, when you ask people, other people on YouTube, whatever, qualified prospect. Oh, well, someone that wants it. Nope. Not correct. Well, a decision maker. Nope. Not correct. Not correct. That is not a qualified prospect. A qualified prospect meets three criteria. All of them. Not one out of the three, not two out of the three, all of them. If you check all three of these boxes, you have a qualified prospect on the phone. You should close every person that's qualified that you speak to. There's no excuse to not close a qualified prospect ever. That's why the people that I work with, and people think this is crazy, but I have hundreds of them. That's why the people that I work with, they close 60, 70, 80% of the people they talk to. And they're like, that's impossible. No, it's not impossible if you're talking to these people. It's impossible if you're talking to people that don't fit this list, but it's totally possible and highly actually likely if you have any kind of brain and you talk to people that are qualified to close 70, 80% of them. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you when they're qualified, right? Qualified prospect is three things. Number one, want, need, desire. A general want, need, and desire for what it is you're offering. General. A general want, need, and desire for what it is you're offering. I am not saying that people are waking up in the morning, jumping out of bed, saying, I need that person's product. When is he going to call me? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that somebody is looking outside at their car and they're saying, man, that lease is up in 3 months. I really got to do something about it. Coming up real quick. Should probably go to the dealership today or tomorrow or this weekend or whatever. They have a general want, need, and desire for the car at some point. Okay? Or, you know, somebody is 30 or 40 pounds overweight. They have a general want, and they want to lose weight, and they feel like they need to lose weight, they got to get healthy or whatever. They have a general want, need, and desire for losing weight, getting healthy. It's not that it's on their mind 24/7. It's not that they woke up today, I got to get weight loss stuff. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that they have a general want, need, and desire for what it is you're offering. The opposite of this is, watch, someone's a real estate agent, okay? You are not selling a house to a family of 5 who just closed on a house next door to the one you're trying to sell. They have no want, no need, no desire for your house. It's not going to happen. You're not selling a car to someone who pulled up to your dealership in a brand new car with a window sticker on it. That's not going to happen, okay? They have to have, you're not going to sell a weight loss product to someone who's, you know, like me. I'm 5'11", 150 pounds. You're not selling me a weight loss product, I'd die, okay? I have no want, no need, no desire for what it is you're offering. Zero, okay? So you're not going to sell it to me, all right? Next, ability. They have to have the ability to make the purchase. Now, this means a number of different things, depending on the industry that you're in. It means a number of different things, okay? So in certain industries, that could be a credit score, right? So if someone's buying a car, it could be or a house or whatever, it could be a credit score, it could be a job, right? It could be the tax returns to qualify for the mortgage or whatever. It could be a number of things, right? Generally speaking, though, what this means is they can afford and qualify for what it is that you're selling. So if you have a $500 product, they have $500 to pay you, okay? If they don't have $500, you can't sell them anything, okay? They have $500 to pay you. So if you have a $10,000 product, they have $10,000 in the bank to pay you right now, all right? If you're selling a house, a car, a motorcycle, a boat, they have the credit score to finance it or something like that, okay? That's what ability means. They can actually make the transaction. They have the money or means to get the money, whether it's a loan or something, to do the transaction with you, all right? And last, these are not in order either. There's no order to these. They have to meet all three of them. They have the authority to do it with you, okay? So if you are selling, let's say, a social media thing, you have like a social media little agency or something. You're selling that package or whatever for $5,000 a month to somebody. And the place you're selling to is called Joe and Jim's Pizza, and you're talking to Joe, and Jim is in Vegas at a poker tournament, you can't sell Joe anything because he doesn't have the authority to do it without his partner there. Okay? If you're selling life insurance, husband and wife. If you're selling a house to a family of 5, you need the both parties there, husband and wife. If you're just talking to the husband, you're wasting your time. Okay? So they have to have the authority to do it. If they don't meet this 3 criteria, number 1, they're not qualified. You shouldn't talk to them. And number 2, in the real world, again, the internet world's a little different here because they don't know what they're doing, most of them. But in the real world, if they don't meet this criteria, they don't count against your closing ratio. So here's an example of that, okay? Let's say you speak to 10 people, all right? Let's say you're selling I don't know, whatever it is, a book, okay? You speak to 10 people. The first person you speak to, the book is $100, let's say. It's an expensive book, right? $100. The first person you speak to, they're homeless. They have nothing. So they can't afford the book, okay? The next person you speak to just bought the same book. Why are they even calling you? This is so strange. They just bought the same book, and they don't have anyone else to give a book to. They don't want another one. So that person, there's no reason to talk to them, okay? The third person you spoke to is 12. He can't buy the book. He's 12 years old. He doesn't have the authority to make the decision. He doesn't have a credit card. He can't do it, okay? So that's 3 out of the people you spoke to. The fourth person you spoke to, actually you didn't speak to them. They died. All right, you spoke to their sister or something, but they died, and it's over with them, right? So that's 4 out of the 10, okay? Now, the last 6, the book is about, let's say, running, okay? It's a running book, okay? The last 6, they like to run, and they want to get better at running. They have $100 in the bank, and they're over 18, and they're an adult, and they can make a decision. Now, out of those 6 people, you close 3 of them. Sell the book to 3 of them. Now, it should be much more than that, but you sell it to 3 of them, right? Your closing ratio is 50%, not 30%. Now, a lot of people online will say that's a 30% closing. No, it's not. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. That is a 50% closing ratio because you only count people who are qualified prospects. Think of it this way. It's a very good analogy. In baseball, if somebody walks, it doesn't go against their batting average. Why? Because they didn't get 3 qualified pitches, quote-unquote, strikes, in order for it to count as an at-bat, right? That's why walks don't count as at-bats. They count as plate appearances, but not at-bats for a batting average, okay? The only time it counts as an at-bat for a batting average is if there are 3 strikes thrown and the person is either out. Obviously, foul balls come into play or whatever, but if the person strikes out or they ground out or they hit the ball, whatever, that's an at-bat. But a walk isn't. Why? Because it's not qualified. The same thing is true in sales. So if you're not talking to qualified prospects, that does not count against you or shouldn't count against you. And if you're doing your own data, don't count those people against you because your data is going to be wrong. You're not going to know exactly what's going on, all right? Now, let's get into the actual sales process itself. Number 1 is rapport. We have to build rapport with people the entire time. This is not a box to be checked off. I'm going to show you ways to build rapport in a second. But this is not a box to be checked off. A lot of people teach this in such a way or talk about it in such a way where you build rapport by saying, oh, you're from California. I have a friend that lives in California. That's so cool. California is awesome. That's not building rapport. That's you sounding like an idiot, okay? I'm just being honest with you. It is. Rapport is built not really by what you say, more along the lines of how you say it in the tone of your voice and the pace at which you speak, okay? There is some structure there as well, but for the most part, it's tone and pace. Those are the 2 things that build rapport or destroy rapport, and you could do it at any given moment, all right? Rapport is either being built or being destroyed at any given moment, all throughout the entire process. From the time you meet the person for the rest of your life together, it's either being strengthened or being like lowered, okay? So here's an example. If I speak to someone, if I call somebody and they answer the phone and they say, hi, this is Joanne. How can I help you? And I say, hey, Joanne, this is Kenny from New York. How you doing today? Out of rapport, instantly. That person will never, ever, ever listen to me, no matter what I do. Doesn't matter what I say. Doesn't matter it doesn't make a difference. That person will never listen to me. I'm out of rapport, okay? On the other hand, if someone says, I call someone and they say, hey, this is Joe's Auto Body. How can I help you? And I say, hey, Joe, this is Kenny calling. How you doing today? Out of rapport. Not going to work. Okay? So there are 3 types of salespeople. Right? This has to do with rapport. There are 3 types of salespeople. There are the high and crazy people that I sound like right now, right? Always going crazy, right? There are the low and slow people who talk like this, and they make a lot of money just smoothing people over just like this all day long. They sit back in their chair. You could sit right next to them. You can't even hear them. My first boss in the stock business, Eric, talked like this, and Lou, both of them, they were partners. They both talked like this. I sat right next to them, couldn't even hear them, but they closed and closed and closed and closed and closed. And then there's the adapter. That's the master. That's the person who could be high and crazy when they need to and low and slow when they're talking to somebody who needs that. And they can do that right in a second. They can go from high and crazy, going nuts, running around, screaming and yelling, getting all hyped up, to really low and slow and laid back for the more soft-spoken person that needs to be talked to in this way so that the rapport can be strengthened. You want to be the adapter, okay? Now, naturally, you're going to be one or the other, right? Naturally, you're going to be, I'm always this way, like when I'm training people or whatever. This is just the way that I talk. I talk to my kids this way. I talk to my family this way. I talk to my friends this way. This is just the way that I am, right? But in a sales environment, you have to be adapting to the other side every single time. No matter who it is, no matter what you're doing, you have to adapt to that person. You'll be able to bounce off that person all the time. And if you do that, rapport will be strengthened throughout the entire conversation. So it's not about like, oh, you're from Colorado. I'm a hockey fan. Avalanche, right? Yeah, that's not building rapport. That's being a moron again, right? Rapport is being built by a common bond with the person, but not a common bond in like, hey, you like baseball and so do I. That's not it. The common bond is the way that you communicate with them. It's the way that you speak. It's the tone. It's the pace. It's the structure. It's all of that. Okay? So again, rapport is either being built or being destroyed at all times. So if I'm talking to someone and they're real low and slow like this, and I'm going through the whole thing and I'm pacing them really good and I'm being low and slow like this, right? I'm pacing them, but I'm a little bit above where they are, and I'm going low and slow and they're going low and slow, and we're in rapport, everything's going well. I get to a point in my presentation where I get really excited, and all of a sudden I start talking like this and I start telling them about all the stuff, and this is going to be so amazing. That rapport's gone in a second. That process is over. That person is done. Hang up the phone. Move on to somebody else. The same thing is true. This happens to, I've listened to millions of phone calls, trained hundreds of thousands of people. I've made millions of phone calls myself, okay? And I've heard this happen. I've done this. I do it all the time. Look, I should have said this earlier. When we talk about qualified prospects, why don't we close 100% of the people? They have a want, need, desire for what it is you're offering. They have the ability to make the purchase. They have the authority to say yes or no. Why can't we close every single person? The reason why we can't close every single person is because we're human beings. And we all make mistakes, okay? I close 60, 70, 80% of the people I talk to, incoming calls, on a calendar, warmed up real good. I close about 70, 80% of them, right? Why can't I close 100? Because I make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw it up. I screw it up all the time. You're going to screw it up all the time. I've been doing this 26 years. You're going to screw it up. I screw it up. It's life. It's going to happen, right? What we want to do, though, is we want to make sure that we're screwing it up less and less and less and less and less as time goes on. That's it. Not that big of a deal, okay? So getting back to rapport, I should have mentioned that earlier. Getting back to rapport, we have to make sure that we're either building it that we're building it all the time, because we have to remember it's either being built or being destroyed at any given moment, okay? So rapport is a constant thing. It's not a box to be checked off. The rest of the stuff we're going through here is a box to be checked off. But this right here happens from the time you say hello to somebody, or if it's in person, the time you look at that person sees you, rapport is being built or lost at that moment, okay? That's rapport. Next, we have the reason. We have to find a reason why we're in this conversation, okay, or why we're in this interaction. And we have to get the surface level reasons away from the situation, okay? So For example, let's just say you're selling, I'm trying to cover all bases here because you can use what I'm teaching you here, you can use for any industry in the world, doesn't really matter what it is. Let's say you're selling, let's say you're a painting company and you're selling painting services, right? Or whatever, you're painting somebody's house. And you go into the person's house and you're going to sell them the painting package or whatever. And they're like, yeah, the reason why I called you is because I want my walls to be painted. Is that really the reason why they called? You think the real reason is they just want their walls a different color? Or is it maybe that, like, their daughter always wanted a purple room and you don't feel comfortable painting it yourself? So, like, or I'm selling the house and I want a fresh coat of paint so it looks good so that there's more money, like it's more valuable. Or, my dog just died and I don't want the color on the wall the same as when he was here. Whatever it is, we got to get rid of those surface level reasons and get to the depth. We got to get to the depth reason, right? So when I'm selling something, when I'm selling like sales training services, or when I'm selling my agency stuff or my training stuff, I always say, like, someone will say to me like, well, I just want more leads, right? Or I want to close more deals. Okay. So do you just want to handle more customers? That's going to annoy the crap out of you. Is that what you want to do? You just want more customers to handle? No, obviously not, right? You want more deals. You want to close more deals because that's going to make you more money. Yeah, right? That makes sense, right? Now, do you just want to close more deals to make more money to just, like, have the paper around? No. You want the money to buy things, to invest in things, and to what? Make your status and experience go up. Does someone want a Ferrari? Not really. They want what the Ferrari represents, the status and experience. Does somebody want a new house? Not really. They want the status and experience of the new house. Because maybe now they're living in a 2-bedroom house with 5 people. They want a 4-bedroom house so that the 3 kids can have their own bedroom and husband and wife can have another bedroom. They have a 2-car garage. It's a better experience and it boosts their status. Does somebody really want a new car? No. They want a safer car, better experience. They want a nicer looking car, better brand, bigger status, right? So we're looking for that depth reason, because that depth reason is really going to give us a status and experience boost that we can use to close the deal later on, okay? If we just say, I want more leads, and they're like, okay, that's the reason why. Or I want to paint the house, that's the reason why. There's no depth there. So when we go to close the deal, we can't circle back for that, right? And I'll go into that later on. But we can't go back to that and say, remember before when you said you wanted to paint your house because you just wanted a different color wall? That doesn't make any sense, right? But if I circle back later on and I say, when I'm closing them, and I say, remember you said to me that your daughter wanted the purple room and that's like her dream to have a purple room? Now I can link, and I'm going to talk about all this stuff later on, but it all ties together, all right? Find a reason, get rid of the surface level stuff. Nobody wants a damn car. They want what the car represents. Nobody wants money. They want what the money represents. Status and experience. We want to stay with that at all times. And then once we get a real good reason, depth, depth, depth. Remember, surface level's out, depth is in. We want to get that status and experience at the deepest part we can get it at, and then we find out their current situation. Where are you now? Where are you now in this journey, whatever it is, right? You're looking to buy a car, find a reason. I'm buying a car because my daughter's going to college and I want something safe for her that's affordable and good on gas. Good reason. That's depth. We can turn to it later on. That's status and experience. It makes them feel safe. That's a good experience, right? Their daughter has a new car. That's a good status symbol, right? Status and experience is up. The current situation, where are you right now? Well, right now, my daughter's driving our old Buick, and it sucks, and I'm scared to death she's going to get into an accident. So the wheels are going to fall off, and the thing's going to break down. That's the current situation, okay? Have you looked at other cars? I looked at this, I looked at that. I'm going dealership to dealership. It's a freaking nightmare. Everyone's giving me all this different stuff. That's the current situation. Current situation is always bad. So if you remember before when I said almost all the time, we want to make sure that status and experience is going up with everything that we say. And I said in certain circumstances, though, we want to push it down. This is where we want to push it down, okay? What we want to do here is we want to make sure, we're going to get to linking later on, but we want to make sure that they understand that the current situation that they're in is hurting their status and experience. So if your daughter continues to drive the old car that's dangerous and breaks down all the time, that's bad, right? This pretty much common sense. But like, that's a bad experience. Your daughter of all people, now listen to my tone here, right? Your daughter of all people, you, driving a used car like an old 10 years old. Come on. Really? You of all people? Right? Status down. Okay? So here we want to make sure that we link bad status, bad experience, current situation. All right? And again, I keep saying this, but I'm going to get to linking later on. But just remember that here is one of the parts we're going to do what's called linking, and I'm going to talk about that later. All right? So current situation, status, experience, low. Okay? Then what we do, once we find out what the current situation is, where are you now, then we go to the future pace, perfect place. So what would be a perfect situation for you? Now, this depends on, this here is the only time I'm ever going to say this. This here depends on what it is you're selling, okay? And here's why. Because if I'm selling, let's say, like marketing services or something, right? I may say, what would life look like in 6 months if everything goes perfectly? If I'm selling a weight loss thing, I may say, what would life look like in a year if everything goes perfectly at your perfect weight? How does that affect your life, right? That's future pace, perfect place for something like that. But if I'm selling a car to somebody, I'm not going to say in 6 months. I'm going to say like in 15 minutes when this is done. How relieved are you going to be, right? So it depends on what you're selling insofar as how far in the future you're going to go. Okay, does that make sense? If you're selling somebody, you know, a cell phone or something, you're not going to say, in 16 years, how are you going to feel about the cell phone? How's it going to change your life? That's stupid, okay? But you may say, in 4 years, what is it going to be like if you're like a college admissions salesperson, like you're selling like college kids or something? Like, how are you going to feel when you get that degree? Things on your wall, you look at it forever, you can tell your grandkids you are a graduate of this university. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel like you stole a whole bunch of money from you and you had to use a piece of paper on your wall? Yeah, that's bad accurate. But that's future pacing, okay? So we want to future pace the perfect situation. The perfect situation. And again, the amount that you go in the future will depend on the product or service that you're offering. This also is a great part of this process to see what your prospect is as far as expectations go. Okay, so here's an example. I talk to somebody, let's say I'm selling like a fitness thing or something, right? I talk to somebody and I find a reason. They have a wedding in 6 months they got to go to, and they're overweight, 20, 30 pounds, whatever. They're ashamed to look at themselves in the mirror, and they want to get in shape for this wedding. It's 6 months away. They got to do it now. That's the reason, right? Current situation is they try to go to the gym, but they always slack off. They don't have any accountability. They don't have any discipline. They eat whatever they want. They can't stick to a diet. That's current situation. Future pace is this. Perfect situation, 6 months. What happens? Well, in 6 months, I am 150 pounds less. I have 10% body fat. I'm on the cover of Fitness magazine, and I have the perfect body, and I'm like an Olympian. I look like a Greek god, right? That's unrealistic. Now, on the other hand, right, same situation, reason, current situation, future pace. I asked the question, perfect situation, 6 months from now, what does life look like? And they say, well, if everything goes perfect, I'll be 5 pounds less in 6 months, right? Neither one of those are realistic at all, right? So this gives you a really good spot to judge where your prospect is as far as what their expectations are, right? So if somebody, again, and this applies to anything, if you're selling, if you're a mechanic and you're selling like fixing somebody's brakes or something, and you say, let me ask you this question, you know, if everything goes perfectly when you get your car back, what would that look like for you? And they say, well, I just want to stop every once in a while. Well, that's ridiculous. I guess that's not why you brought your car here, right? I mean, that's dumb. If you want to stop every once in a while, just keep the brakes you have now, right? It doesn't make any sense. Or they say, if everything goes perfect, when I get my car back, my car is going to stop like a NASCAR driver. Like it's going to be like a NASCAR vehicle. It's going to stop like it's going to be the best braking system. Well, that's not really what you hired us for, right? Really what you want people to say is exactly what you offer, right? And that's, if you do the presentation right, that's how it should be, right? If they know like what it is you're doing, that's really what it should be, right? It should be like exactly what you're. So if you're a mechanic and you're selling brakes to somebody, they say, well, perfect situation is my car works as it should. Like at a red light, it stops and there's no grinding sound and there's no brake dust all over my rims and there's no squealing and squeaking and everything every time I stop. Yeah, that's reasonable, right? That's where we want to be, okay? If you're selling a weight loss thing or, it's 6 months, I'd like to be 30 pounds lighter. That's good. That's the perfect place, right? Now, when we find out, again, surface and depth, right? Status and experience. Now we're going to raise the status and experience. So here, we lower it on the depth, and then we raise it here on the depth. So if I say to someone, what is your 6 months from now or 3 months from now, everything goes perfect, what does life look like? And I'm selling I try to like alter these so that I could just show you that it works anywhere. It doesn't really matter what you're selling. But let's say I'm selling, I don't know. Let's say I'm a real estate agent and I'm selling a house, right? And I say, you move in, everything goes well. A month from now, you're settled in, all your furniture's here. It's finally a home, right? It takes you a little time to get used to it. But now, a month later, it's finally yours. You put all your stuff on the wall. You painted it your colors. Your furniture is here. Your kids are running around. Dogs are in the yard, whatever. What does that look like to you? Right, what I want them to say is, my kids finally have a place to call home. My kids finally have their own bedrooms. My wife has a place to do her work from home. I have the basement where I could do my carpentry, like whatever. Right? I have a garage for my motorcycle. I have a spot for my boat. It's a home now instead of the place we were before. We were renting. We were crammed into 3 bedrooms. Now it's a place that I envision my grandkids going. 20, 30, 40 years from now, my grandkids will come back and say, this is where my parents were raised. It'll be the family meeting place. Like, this is what we want. Okay, that's the type of stuff that we want when we're future pacing. Now, obviously, it depends on it depends on, like people are not going to do that for a pack of gum, right? They're not going to say, well, if I get this pack of gum, then my life's going to change forever. And it's going to be, but still, there's future pace, perfect place for a pack of gum, right? And that is, if you get the gum, breath's going to smell better, mouth's going to taste better, like that's still still a perfect thing, right? It's still the perfect outcome, right? So it doesn't matter what it is, but you just have to pay attention and make sure that you're not future pacing too long. Because if I say a pack of gum and I say 6 months, people are going to be like, dude, the gum lasts an hour. I'm going to spit it out, right? And 6 months is ridiculous. I'm not even going to remember you exist 6 months from now. So we want to make sure that we're using the right time frame, okay? Most important thing to remember here is this. Number one, we are lowering status here and experience here. We are raising status and experience here. Okay, that's the seesaw that we're playing here. Okay, we want to the lower we can bring people here, the better it's going to be, and the higher we can bring them here, the better it's going to be. So just remember that we want to bring people as low as possible here, and we want to bring people as high as possible here. If we could do those 2 things, we're good. All right. Next thing we want to do is linking. The linkage. Really important. So we have 2 things going on here, right? And we have to tie them together. We have 2 things going on. We have current situation, which is the broken down car, the house that's too small, the walls that aren't the right color, the grass that's not cut, I'm overweight, I don't have enough money, whatever it is you're selling, right? The current situation. I'm hungry, I need something to eat, whatever it is. You're a restaurant, right? Whatever it is. The current situation. We're bringing that as low as possible, okay? And then, after we do both of these, all we're going to do is just remind them, right? These 2 here. I was kind of flopping around there a little bit. As we're doing these 2 things right here, right? We're just going to continuously remind them that, and I'm going to give you a demonstration of this. We're going to continuously remind them that if they do our thing, they get that. If they don't do our thing, they get that. Which one would you like? Simple. That's it. Okay? Now, a lot of the times, you don't really have to say it outright like that, right? You don't have, look, if you do this right, someone comes in to, let's use something off of my desk again. I have a water jug here. I drink a gallon of water every day. This is a 64-ounce Bubba jug, and it's a half gallon. I drink 2 of them every day. My current situation, before I buy the Bubba thing, right? My current situation is I am drinking a gallon of water out of a gallon water jug every day. It's warm. It's hard to carry around. It looks freaking ridiculous when I'm walking into like my kid's soccer game with a gallon jug of water. It's like dumb, right? The water's always warm in the warmer months. And my future pace is I want a thing that I could carry anywhere, that doesn't look ridiculously stupid, that won't spill all over the place, and that stays cold. What is the link? What is the linkage? If I buy this water bottle, the Bubba thing, I'm going to be relieved of all the problems from the gallon water jug. If I don't buy the Bubba thing, I'm going to continue to carry the gallon water jug around. Okay? Now, the important thing to understand here is the lower we go here and the higher we go here, the more, I'm going to say like deviation there is in the linkage. Right? Does that make sense? So here's another example just to illustrate this, right? If somebody is coming into a car dealer and they have I'm filming this in 2023, right? If somebody is coming into a car dealer and they have a 2022 Honda Accord and they're looking to buy a 2023 Honda Accord because they don't like the color of the one they have now, that's their reason, right? If they're looking to do that, the current situation is there's no pain there. There's no depth, right? It's just like I want to buy the new one because I just want to have the new one and I don't like the color. There's no depth. And then future pacing is like there's no depth there, right? So the linkage is extremely hard because the more space you have between current and future, the better off you're going to be. Right? Does that make sense? The more, like, it's easier to close somebody that comes into a car dealer with a 1995 Honda Accord on its last leg. That guy's going to buy a car, right? But the person that has a brand new car or a car from a year ago, that's going to be a lot harder because there's no current and future disparity, right? They're very close. They're closely aligned, and we don't want them closely aligned. The further apart they are, the stronger the linkage occurs. The stronger the linkage, the more likely you close. Simple. Okay? So my job here is to link the current situation with not doing my thing. Simple. Okay? And to link the future pace perfect situation to doing my thing. All right? So again, it applies to everything. It doesn't matter. You have a cell phone, current situation, I have no case. If I drop it, it breaks and I'm screwed. Future pace, perfect place. I have a case where if I drop it, it's protected. The linkage is if you buy this case, your phone will be protected forever. You could drop it on the floor like I just did with mine. Military grade case, not going to break. If I did that without the case on, boom, it's shattered. I got to buy a new one. That's the linkage between the current situation and the future pace perfect situation. If you do my thing, you got all your problems solved. Status experience are up, your phone's protected, you have the case on, not going to break. If you don't do my thing, you're going to drop it, it's going to break, and you're going to be sad. Everything's going to be terrible. Okay? That is linking the two together. All right? The next thing that we do is we customize the offer to their liking. What does this mean? It's very simple. Very simple. Phone case example. I'm picking things off of my desk. All right. Phone case example. I got them on the linkage. They understand if they buy the case, they're going to be protected. They're going to be in the perfect situation for the phone. If they don't buy the case, they drop it. Oops, it breaks. Everything is bad. Okay? We're there. Now what I have to do is I have to say, okay, you like the case. Do you like the black case? Do you like the red case? Do you like the yellow case? Do you like the case with the little pop socket thing on the back? Do you like the case that comes with the screen on the front? Which kind of case do you like for you? We just personalize it to them. We customize it to them. If you're selling somebody a house, do you like a 3-bedroom house? Do you like a 2-bedroom house? Do you like a 4-bedroom house? Do you like a house in this neighborhood, a house in that neighborhood? If you're selling somebody a coaching program, do you like one-on-one coaching? Do you want group coaching? Do you want you customize the offer specifically for that individual person. Okay? Very simple. All right? And the last thing that you do is you just ask them for it. You ask them for the deal. That's it. And again, I'm going to run through this and give you an actual example of this in a second. But you just ask them to do it. And if you've done everything else correctly, most of the time, yes, I've said it correctly. That wasn't a mistake. I said it correctly. If you've done it the right way, most of the time, they'll buy from you. Yes, meaning over 50% of the people you speak to that are qualified will buy from you if you do it the right way. So don't listen to these people that are telling you 20% is good, 30% is good. They don't have no real world experience at all. If you're talking to qualified prospects and you run through the pattern and word track that I just gave you, you should be closing at least half of the qualified prospects you speak to, if not more than that. Okay? And this is, again, we're not going through objections here. I'll have another video for that. So if you want that, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and I'll do that. And again, I hate to keep saying this, but below this in the description, my social media stuff is there. So go follow that, and there's a lot of objection stuff on there as well. And I always add more stuff to that, and it's just like short little clips on Instagram and TikTok or whatever. But it's good because I just go through one objection real quick, boom, and you got it, right? I handle anything, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go through this. I'm not going to do rapport because I'm not talking to anybody, so that would be difficult. I'll start with finding a reason. And we're going to use the Yeti coffee mug that I have. Same thing as the Bubba water jug, really, but the Yeti coffee mug. Find a reason. I am a Yeti salesperson, right? So I'm going to say to the person, welcome to the Yeti store. You're looking for something. First of all, the intro, right? Don't ever say, can I help you? Please, for the love of God, don't ever say that. There's two things you never say. There's more than that, but these are two that just popped in my head. Two things. When you're on the phone with someone, never say, how you doing today? Because nobody cares. Don't say that. What you say instead is, can you hear me okay? Just like that. So, hey, this is Kenny calling from XYZ company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, I can hear you. What's up? Boom, right into it. Now, if I say, this is Kenny, this person's name is John, let's say. Hey, John, this is Kenny calling from XYZ company out in New York. How you doing today? Crappy. Now where do I go? Hang up, right? Busy. Oh, screw it again. What do you want? I got a lot going on. Problem. Can you hear me okay? Gets them to say yes every time. Let's go right into it. Okay? That's one thing. Never say how you doing in an opening of a call. Okay? Second thing you never do if you're selling in person is say, can I help you with something? Yeah, you can help. You can get the hell away from me so I can look quietly in peace. Never say that. Instead, what you say is this. Welcome to the Yeti store. You're looking for a cup for you or somebody else? Boom. Now we're talking. They got to answer that question. Now, knee-jerk reaction, here's the thing. This is psychology. Ready? Knee-jerk reaction, they see the salesperson walking up to them. They're a couple just staring at the Yeti mugs, right? They're thinking, oh, the salesperson's coming. Oh, boy. I'm just going to tell them I'm just looking around. I don't want to talk to them. And then I come up to them, and they're expecting, can I help you? Right? So I say, hey, are you looking for that mug for you or someone else? And they don't know what to say. They have no idea because they've never heard that before, right? So they just answer it. They say, well, I guess maybe me and my wife, I don't really know. And then you're in, right? Why do you actually want a Yeti? What brought you in today? Finding a reason. And then maybe they'll say something like, well, I drink a lot of coffee, and a lot of my friends have the Yeti cups, and I heard they were pretty good. Yeah, they're actually amazing. 12 hours hot, 24 hours cold. Keep your coffee hot all day long. It's pretty fantastic. So let me ask you this. In the coffee drinking, how are you doing that right now? You just going to the gas station buying regular cups? You bringing it from home? What does that look like right now for your coffee drinking deal? Well, I just go to the 7-Eleven or a little convenience store and I get it, but the coffee gets cold real quick and doesn't really work out that well, especially an hour later it's already freezing cold and I don't really like to drink it that way. Well, let me ask you this. If that problem could be solved, what would that look like for you? Would you want your coffee hot all day? Would you want it hot for a couple of hours? Because we have a different selection here. So just so I know where you're at, what would a perfect solution be for you as far as your coffee goes? Well, a perfect solution would be that it would be hot for 12 hours, because that's how long I work. That's how long I'm out of the house. And normally what I do is I fill my coffee up in the morning, and then what happens is, I just drink that cup all day long, and I just don't like drinking cold coffee. So if it could stay cold for 12 hours, that would be awesome. Okay, so I think it's pretty fair to say that if you don't get involved with the Yeti cup, then you'll still be drinking out of the convenience store cups, right? I mean, you don't really have anything else you're using right now, right? That would make sense? Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, and I think it would also make sense to say, and if I'm wrong here, you can let me know, but I think it would make sense to say that if you bought the Yeti cup and you actually used it every single day, that your coffee would be hot for 12 hours. That's the guarantee on the cup, so it'll be hot for 12 hours. Does that seem fair? Yes, that seems fair. Okay, so what kind of color do you like? Are you more of someone who likes the tan or the white or the black, or you like more of the crazy colors like the yellow and the blue and the green? Well, I actually like the black one. Okay, well, we have the black one right here. It's $29.95, and I can bring you up to the register and get you started right now. Done. That's how you close a deal. Simple. Okay? Now, I use the Yeti cup. You could do that on anything. Doesn't make a difference. Now, I'm going to shorten this up a lot. Okay, this is not normally how we would do this. I'm going to shorten this up a lot, but we have a fitness offer. Okay? Find a reason. Somebody calls me up. So I ask them, I say, if there's one thing that'll help you move the needle the most, what would that be? Like, why did you decide to book a call with us today? Well, I'm, 100 pounds overweight, and I'm going on vacation with my husband in, 3 months, and I want to just slim down a little bit so I look a little better and I could wear a nicer bathing suit. Well, what would happen if you didn't slim up? What would that look like if you didn't do that? Well, and then I'd be, overweight, and, maybe my husband would look at me the same way, and, it would be a little depressing for me. I wouldn't have the self-confidence. Now see how I'm clearing away the surface and I'm getting to the depth, right? That's what we're trying to do on every one of these. Clear away the surface, get to the depth, okay? My husband would look at me the same way. I wouldn't have the self-confidence that I have. I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror. Okay, good. Current situation. What are you doing right now to try to lose that weight? Well, I go to the gym, but I don't really go all that often because I don't have any discipline. I don't have any accountability. I tried some diets. I tried keto for like a week and it sucked. I did some no-carb stuff. I did sit-ups or whatever. I walk like once a month, but I don't do anything consistently. I just don't have a lot of consistency. Okay, so let me ask you this then. You tried all of those things. What do you think the one thing is that's causing you all the problems? Like, if there's one thing there, what would it be? Well, it's probably the accountability. Like, I have no accountability whatsoever. And how does that make you feel as far as your self-esteem goes? Knowing that you have no discipline. How does that affect your self-esteem? Well, it makes me feel like crap. It makes me feel like garbage. It makes me feel like a loser. See how I'm lowering the status of experience? I'm getting it as low as I possibly can, right? The next thing I'm going to do once I get there is I'm going to say, okay, let's switch gears a little bit here. I want you to imagine 3 months down the road. You're off in Hawaii with your husband on the vacation, and everything went perfect. What does life look like? Tell me. Paint that picture for me. Imagine that in your head. Show me what you're seeing. Well, I'm 150 pounds. I'm in a bikini. I'm drinking a margarita. And you just get them to talk about everything. You get them to feel it. Imagine it. Really get into that moment and feel it. Right? Now, I future pace, perfect place them, and then I link the two. Well, if you don't do anything about it, what's going to happen? Well, probably I'm going to stay the same, right? But if you actually take action and you finally break through and you have that accountability partner and you have the perfect diet and you have the perfect workout routine and you stick to it for the next 3 months, then what happens? You get the perfect place, right? The next thing I do is I just customize it for them. Well, listen, you're a nurse. You work 12 hours a day. One of the best things about what we have here, our workouts take 15 minutes a day, and that's it. Another thing that's the true beauty of this program, it takes 10 minutes to do your meal planning every single day. No matter how much you work, you can do this. And we're going to be right there with you the entire time. Customize it, and then I just say, the price of the program is $3,000, and I stop talking. And they're going to say, okay, or they're going to say, do you have a payment plan? Or they're going to say, that's too much, or they're going to say, I got to talk to this person, or they're going to say, I got to talk, whatever, and I'm going to handle it. Different video, but that's what happens. Doesn't matter what you're selling. That's what you need to understand. The process is always the same. I'm building rapport from the second they lay eyes on me or the second they hear my voice. I'm either building it or I'm losing it, okay? I'm finding a real reason as to why I'm in the conversation with the person. Why did they come to my store? Why did they call me? Why did they meet me on the show? Whatever it is, why are we talking to each other? I'm finding a real reason, depth, okay? I'm focusing on status and experience the entire time. I'm finding out what their current situation is. Where are you now? Where is our starting point? And I'm going deep again. Status and experience, low, okay? Then I'm finding out what their perfect place looks like out in the future. 6 months, 3 months, 2 weeks, whatever it is, I'm finding out what their perfect place looks like. What does your life look like if everything goes absolutely perfect? What does your life look like in 6 months? I'm having them paint that picture, get emotional about it. Then I'm linking them together. I'm saying I'm not saying these exact words, but I'm doing it in another way, but I'm linking it, right? I'm saying, if you do this, you'll get the future perfect place. If you don't do this, you're going to be stuck where you are now, okay? That's the linking process. Then I'm customizing it and making it seem like it's specifically made for them, all right? So with the Yeti cup example, I say, okay, I got the linkage down, right? I got the linkage down. He understands that if he doesn't buy the Yeti cup, he doesn't do something, he's going to be using the stupid cups from the convenience store. His coffee's going to be cold. And if he does buy the Yeti cup, it's hot for 12 hours and it's going to be the greatest thing ever, right? I got the linkage down. Now I'm just saying, you like blue, you like black, you like white, you like tan. I'm customizing it for him. You want the 20 ounce, the 30 ounce, the 50 ounce, whatever. I'm customizing it for that individual person with some sort of digital product or coaching offer or whatever. You know, I'm saying we have weekly coaching, we have daily coaching, we have this, we have that, we have meal plans. I'm making it seem like the product is made just for them. Okay, with the car, we have one with a sunroof, we have black, we have blue, we have this, we have that, window etching, tints, and whatever. I'm customizing the thing specifically for their needs. Okay, painting, we have this color, we have that color, we could do a trim, we could do this, whatever. Okay, customize the offer specifically for that individual, and then just ask them to do it. If you do it the right way, a majority of people will say yes. Through a rebuttal sequence, yeah, that's true. They're not going to say yes right away. But a majority of people, through a rebuttal sequence, that video will be uploaded shortly. Subscribe and hit the bell if you want it. Through a rebuttal sequence, a majority of people that you speak to, qualified prospects, will say yes. And that's it. That is all you need to do. And that right there is better than any other thing that I've ever seen when it comes to sales besides Jordan Belfort, because he's the king. Any other thing, you pay $5,000 for a sales program, you pay $10,000 for this closing thing, what you just learned here is more valuable than any of those things. Any of them. And it's free for you on YouTube to watch. You can share it with your friends, you can post it on your thing, whatever. Ask me questions below, I'll answer them personally. You got a suggestion for a video, you got an objection you want me to teach you how to overcome, whatever it is, put them below, I'll answer them for you, I'll do a video for it, whatever. It's free. Because I'm sick and tired of the people that have no real world experience, they read some stupid book, or they watched a video, and they're just repeating stuff. I train salespeople for a living. That makes my job harder, because I have to untrain what the idiot taught you, and then I have to retrain you the right way. I got to do two things, and I don't get paid to do two things. I get paid to do one thing, and that's turn people into machines. That's what I do. I turn the average everyday person who walks onto a sales floor into a closing machine. That's what I teach people how to do. That's what I do. That's what I'm hired to do, okay? If I have to untrain you, I'm doing two jobs, and I don't get paid for two jobs. I get paid for one, all right? So I don't like it, and that's why I'm doing this. This is the only sales training that you need. You don't need any other sales training. This is it. You do this, and you will be the best closer at your place. You do this, your offer that you have right now, if you have your own thing, will start to blow the hell up. You do this, you want to be a closer for somebody else's offer, you do what I just showed you, you'll be the top person at that offer in a matter of a week. Easily. Okay? You pair that up with handling objections the right way, which the video is going to come out shortly. You do that, sky's the limit. You can do whatever the hell you want. Okay? Most important skill in the world to learn, influence and sales. If you learn influence and sales, you can do whatever the hell you want. You never have money issues again. You're totally free. I know no matter how much money I have in the bank, no matter what, I could take any risk in the world that I want. Doesn't matter. Why? Because I can walk into a car dealership tomorrow and make it $3,000 a week by next week. Because I know how to close. I know how to sell. I know how to influence. You develop this skill. You learn this skill. And it's quick. You can learn this skill easily. It's not hard. You run through this process I just showed you 100 times, you'll be a master at it. Easy. You can do 100 calls in one day. Right? Not that hard. So you can do it very quickly, and it's the most important skill that you can learn. Besides some personal development stuff, identity-related stuff, that's important too. But as far as business goes, the most important skill you'll ever learn in your life, and it's here for free on YouTube. You will never find training like this anywhere else, and you will never find anybody that can teach you the way that I can teach you. That's a promise. And I have nothing to sell you. I don't offer anything to the general public. My sales training goes to corporations. Right? We have other programs that we do every once in a while, but for the most part, we sell to businesses. So I don't even have anything for you. I'm just telling you the honest truth. This right here, what you just learned, is the best sales training available anywhere. That's why I named it that. And you can go out and pay for stuff if you want. You don't need it. It's right here. It's free. And that's it. That's all you need to do. All right? If you have any questions, let me know. If not, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. I'll send you over or I'll upload the objection video, and you can learn that as well.